Imagine you are standing on the sweltering New York pavement in the middle of July.
Sounds miserable, honest.
Right. You are outside Madison Square Garden expecting the usual midtown chaos. But instead, you are watching Bradley Cooper, Paul McCartney, and what looks like an entire literal forest being loaded through the VIP service elevators.
Just a casual Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. The arena went dark, the cameras flashed, the crowd outside froze. And just like that, Madison Square Garden, home to legendary championship games and sold-out concerts, transformed into an enchanted forest. Hollywood and the world had a new obsession.
A total obsession.
Welcome to Starscope Report. Join your hosts as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and the stories shaping pop culture. From red carpet surprises to highly guarded secrets, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And we are totally tearing up the NDAs today.
We really have to, because our mission for this deep dive is to take you inside the most aggressively protected, highly anticipated event of the year, the July 3rd, 2026 wedding of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Finally. I mean, the security apparatus surrounding this event was practically military grade.
It was a literal fortress. But our goal is to cut through that perimeter and piece together exactly what happened inside that arena. So we are pulling from a massive stack of insider reports to get this done.
Yeah, we've got a lot of ground to cover.
So much. We have the latest dispatches from TMZ, People Magazine, NBC News, Extra TV, Reality T, and the Times of India. We're looking at the tiers, the A-list guests, and, the inevitable hidden Easter eggs.
Because it wouldn't be a Taylor event without them.
Right. To kick things off, the headline story coming out of the ceremony itself is something that completely hijacked the internet. According to sources inside the room, Travis Kelce cried significantly more than Taylor Swift during their 40-minute vows.
Okay, wait. 40 minutes at the altar.
Yeah.
That is not a standard ceremony by any means.
Not at all.
That is a staggering amount of time for two people to stand in front of 1,000 guests and speak directly to one another.
I am stuck on the logistics of that, honestly. Reading vows for 20 minutes each is like a 40-minute emotional marathon.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I can barely hold a crowd's attention for a 3-minute toast. It's almost like she gave a private Acoustic Eras tour performance just for him.
Yeah, but in front of an arena audience.
Yeah.
The endurance required to remain that vulnerable for almost an hour is intense.
Totally.
But it begins to make sense when you look at the physical environment they created at the altar to hold that moment. They were completely dialed into the visual synergy.
Which was stunning, by the way. Reports confirm they both wore custom Christian Dior haute couture.
Designed by Jonathan Anderson, right?
Yes, exactly. It's heritage luxury, but they designed it as a matching set. Travis was in a sharp, classic white tuxedo, and Taylor wore a perfectly matched white gown with a dramatic train.
Wow.
Paired with custom Christian Louboutin shoes and Cartier jewelry.
See, that acts as a visual unifier. When you are standing in an arena, the clothing has to project scale. But the matching stark white against what we soon discuss as a very lush background, it creates a hyper-focus on just the two of them.
She isolates them.
Exactly. It isolates them from the 1,000 people watching.
But here's where I need to push back a little, because there is a detail about these vows that feels a bit, contradictory.
Okay, what is...
They didn't just read from pieces of paper. They read these massive vows from matching gold books.
Okay.
I have to be honest, that sounds a bit performative for a couple trying to keep things grounded. Am I being too cynical here?
I mean, it is easy to view it as a prop, but consider the psychology of who you're dealing with.
Right.
You have one of the most prolific songwriters in modern history. Words are her legacy. Putting those specific private promises into bound gold books elevates the vows from a fleeting speech to a permanent archived history of their relationship.
Oh, that makes sense, like a literal record.
Yeah, it is an acknowledgement that what they are saying carries historical weight for them personally.
Yeah.
And NBC News reported that Taylor actually incorporated singing into those vows.
Which is just, wow, blending her global superstar talent with her private promises. And that naturally led to the reaction that broke the internet.
The tears.
The tears. An NBC News insider reported that this 40-minute exchange left the entire room crying. But the biggest shock to guests was the groom.
Travis.
Yeah. The insider said, and I quote, "You would think the bride would be the one crying more, but it was actually Travis that was more emotional."
This is a phenomenal subversion of expectations. I mean, we are talking about a formidable NFL player.
Right, a tight end.
Exactly. His entire public brand for over a decade has been built on physical dominance, taking hits, and projecting invulnerability on a football field.
Yeah.
For him to stand at the altar, strip off that hypermasculine armor, and openly, visibly weep for 20 minutes, that is a profoundly vulnerable act.
It totally shatters the caricature of the tough athlete.
It grounds their entire narrative in a media landscape where, high-profile relationships are frequently dismissed as PR arrangements.
Oh, God.
Seeing a massive, physically imposing athlete break down out of pure love cannot be faked. It resonates with the public because it provides a raw, unfiltered anchor to what is otherwise an untouchable billionaire lifestyle.
That is so true. And that's not even the wildest part. Wait till you hear who actually stood between them to make it official. It's a shocking twist nobody saw coming.
Yeah, The Officiant is a bizarre and brilliant choice.
But real quick, if you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you subscribe. We've got even crazier stories ahead in this deep dive.
So much more to get into.
So getting back to it, The Officiant only works because of the space they were standing in. This is the part that melts my brain. They built a secret garden inside the world's most famous arena.
Right. Madison Square Garden.
Madison Square Garden is a cavernous sports complex. How do you fit 1,000 people, ranging from, their childhood neighbors to A-listers like Gigi Hadid, Bradley Cooper, and Steven Spielberg, into an arena and make it feel intimate?
You can't just throw some folding chairs on a basketball court and call it romantic.
Exactly.
You have to utilize spatial psychology. You are bringing 1,000 people in from the chaotic, sensory overload environment of Midtown Manhattan.
So loud.
Yeah. If you just dump them into a massive room, the energy remains chaotic. So the event designers forced a decompression period.
They did that with the entrance tunnel.
Yes.
Guests didn't walk through a sterile concrete arena hallway. They walked through a highly curated, fully draped tunnel lined with massive blown-up photos of Taylor and Travis, from childhood right up to their relationship.
It serves as a chronological timeline. The guests are physically walking past baby pictures, teenage milestones, and relationship highlights.
Right.
This is a brilliant psychological transition. It forces A-list celebrities and high school friends alike to stop thinking of the couple as global superstars.
And start viewing them as two normal human beings.
Exactly. Who grew up, met, and fell in love. By the time the guests emerged from that tunnel, their mindset has completely shifted.
And they emerged into an actual greenhouse structure built on the arena floor.
A literal secret garden.
Real flowers, artificial trees, lush green and white draping everywhere. They had live strings playing in this indoor forest. And Taylor walked down the aisle to an instrumental version of her own song, Love Story.
Bridging her defining public art with her defining private milestone. It's so poetic.
But notice how they handled the human element within that massive space. With an unlimited budget and 1,000 guests, the temptation is to have a sprawling 20-person wedding party.
To fill the stage, yeah.
But they didn't do that. They kept the formal roles to immediate family. Austin Swift, Taylor's brother, was her man of honor. Jason Kelce was the best man.
And Jason and Kylie Kelce's kids served as the flower girls.
So cute.
It is a study in contrasts. The architecture is Madison Square Garden, but the social structure of the ceremony is as tight-knit as a backyard family gathering.
Right.
They used their immediate family as a buffer against the scale of the room.
Which brings us to the person standing at the center of it all, the officiant.
Oh, man.
Here's where it gets really interesting for you. The person who officially married Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce was comedian Adam Sandler.
It sounds like a randomly generated internet rumor.
It totally does. Adam Sandler officiating for Taylor Swift. That is the crossover event of the century. I read that report and thought, how does the guy from Billy Madison end up presiding over the most anticipated romantic event of the decade?
Well, if you look at Sandler's specific reputation in Hollywood, it makes total sense.
How so?
Travis Kelce recently worked with Sandler on the set of Happy Gilmore 2 in 2025. They became friends. And Sandler is legendary in the industry for two things: being fiercely, unconditionally loyal to his friends, and being completely unpretentious.
I mean, he shows up to red carpets in basketball shorts.
Exactly. And TMZ reported he actually wrote and sang an original song for the couple during the ceremony.
Which they said was funny, but touching.
Right. That humor is a calculated tool. When you are inside an arena, the tension and the potential for pretension are sky high.
Oh, for sure.
By having a friend who is naturally funny but deeply sincere run the ceremony, you puncture that tension. Sandler's presence says to the room, "We might be in Madison Square Garden, but we're not taking ourselves too seriously."
It grounds the spectacle.
It really does.
Well, later in this deep dive, we'll talk about the reception, including a mind-blowing raffle prize that ties perfectly to the origin of their romance.
The transition from the ceremony to the reception is where the narrative shifts, from private vulnerability to a historic cultural celebration.
Right. So the ceremony ends, and Taylor's mother, Andrea, invites the guests to head downstairs to the main floor for the party. And the aesthetic did a complete 180.
Totally different vibe.
The secret garden turned into what insiders described as Alice in Wonderland meets the Wizard of Oz.
A surreal, whimsical, highly saturated environment.
And they matched that eclectic visual with unbelievable culinary choices. They brought in high-end catering from Zero Bond.
Oh, the exclusive New York members-only club.
Yeah, serving everything from high-end sushi to classic Italian food. But honestly, the food is secondary to the music. We're talking about a Taylor Swift event.
The entertainment lineup for this reception was unbelievable.
Paul McCartney took the stage. He sang, "I Want to Hold Your Hand."
The historical weight of that specific song choice cannot be overstated.
Really?
McCartney rarely performs that track publicly. It represents the absolute genesis of global pop hysteria. It is one of the purest expressions of young, unjaded love in the musical canon.
Wow.
For him to revive it for this modern power couple is a literal passing of the torch from the biggest phenomenon of the 20th century to the biggest phenomenon of the 21st.
That gave me chills, and Stevie Nicks followed him, bringing the patron saint of female singer-songwriters to bless the room. But this is the big aha moment for me. Taylor Swift did not perform at her own wedding.
She didn't.
NBC News reported she completely gave up the microphone for the night. Why would the most famous performer on earth stay seated while legends play her wedding?
For Taylor Swift, giving up the microphone is the ultimate boundary-setting mechanism.
Okay, unpack that.
Her entire life, her identity, and her massive empire are defined by performing for arenas. When singing is your literal job, staying silent is how you prove you are off the clock.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
By choosing to be an audience member at an arena event, she clearly separates her public occupation from her private joy.
Though reports do say she and Travis duetted a rock song the night before at the rehearsal dinner, which feels like a great compromise.
Totally. Let loose the night before, but keep the wedding day sacred. She didn't need to perform because her influence was already baked into the architecture of the event.
Through her signature branding.
Exactly, the Easter eggs.
Yes. Outside Madison Square Garden, the massive jumbotrons were flashing a custom marquee message that read, "Justin T. married, TNT."
Brilliant.
And they carried that inside to the physical keepsakes. They provided custom embroidered handkerchiefs for the guests. They featured the TNT monogram and a lyric from her 2014 hit, Blank Space.
So it's going to be forever.
That is such a flex. She took a song that she originally wrote as a sarcastic, satirical response to the media, calling her a serial dater.
Right, playing the character.
Yeah, and she reclaimed that exact lyric for her actual real-life wedding day.
It is masterful narrative control. She's winking at her own mythology, but while she is playing with her public persona, she and Travis completely dismantled a core wedding tradition with the reception entertainment.
Oh, the games. The reception featured actual carnival-style games, and winning those games entered guests into a massive raffle.
Which is wild.
We are talking designer handbags, but the grand prize, a 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle.
Which is the exact model of the car they rode off in after their very first public date in Kansas City back in 2023.
The ultimate getaway car.
Yes.
But let's look at the mechanics of this. So what does this all mean? They ask for absolutely no gifts from their guests. They made that very strict. But they turn around and raffle off a vintage car. It's like they flipped the entire concept of a wedding registry upside down.
You invade the wedding registry, exactly. Traditional weddings operate on a dynamic where guests bestow gifts to help a couple start their lives.
Right.
But when you're dealing with two individuals who already possess immense dynastic wealth, receiving a toaster or even a Rolex loses all utility and meaning.
It actually becomes a burden to manage.
Exactly. So they flip the power dynamic. By providing extravagant gifts to their guests instead, they turn the wedding into an act of supreme hospitality.
Wow.
It transforms the event from a celebration of the couple into a massive thank you to the community of friends and family who supported them.
That is so fascinating. And hey, stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next as we wrap up this incredible story.
Because when you zoom out and look at all of these choices together, it paints a really clear picture of modern fame.
It really was a masterclass in event storytelling.
Yeah, they actively participated in the mythology that their fans demand. The Easter eggs, the getaway car, the custom marquee.
Giving the fans exactly what they want.
Exactly. But by locking down the phones, keeping the vows off camera, and surrounding themselves with immediate family and fiercely loyal friends like Adam Sandler, they protected the actual human core of the relationship.
And for you listening, the reason this deep dive matters is that it proves extreme, blinding fame can still be balanced with incredibly grounded personal touches.
Provided you have militant vision for what you want to protect.
Right. They took a space meant for 20,000 screaming fans and neurologically tricked 1,000 guests into feeling like they were in a living room.
They understood that the world was watching the exterior of Madison Square Garden. So they meticulously controlled the emotional narrative on the interior.
Which leaves us with a massive question to mull over.
What's that?
Well, they managed to make a 1,000-person arena feel like a private garden party. As celebrity culture continues to evolve, will the arena wedding become the new standard for megastars?
Oh, that's a good question.
Right. Will the line between a personal life milestone and a heavily produced stadium-scale experience disappear entirely?
It is a cultural shift that will definitely redefine how public figures manage their private lives for the next decade.
Absolutely. Well, you've been listening to Starscope Report, where we uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.